All right, at the end of the last video, I got cut off as I had just made this box that I was going to turn into crop marks. But being the human that I am, I realized I made a mistake. On the rubric, you're being graded on cleaning up this area outside of the bleed first. So instead of doing that twice, we may as well just get rid of this one and do it over on the left first. So artboard selected, we'll click delete, we'll select all this stuff, get rid of it. So now we only have one area to clean up. Now you might be noticing that I'm kind of repeating myself from the full bleed project, and normally once the class is under full swing, I'm not going to do that anymore. In fact, for example, what I'd say at this point is, now go ahead, clean up your document, make your crop marks, make the other document. And in fact, I'm going to kind of say that about cleaning up the document, because if you remember, there were so many different ways to do that. But what I'm going to do, since we're early on in the course, is I'm going to help you remember where everything is. So I'm going to pretend that I'm the not so good student and you're the good student. So I'm saying, oh, I don't remember how to do that. And you're like, well, Steve, it was only like a week ago. You should know where that stuff is, of course. So you just go into Canvas announcements, assuming that you don't remember exactly where it is on the Prof. Steve G site, and you just go to the announcements and you go back a week or two. So it's probably in here, and sure enough, here are the videos for the full bleed. So we just click on here, look through the table of contents till we see something dealing with cleaning up outside of the bleed. And it even took me a little bit of searching. It turns out it's on the full bleed project 2 of 2. And right here is where I talk about how to do it in fairly easy terms with either the Pathfinder or the eraser. But then in the event that it's more difficult, I point out that there is this video here, which once you're on the website, I mean, you could click on that link, but then you could also remember that under software help for particular programs, Illustrator, and then where is it, masking, and then you'd follow the contents of this video. So I'm going to try the eraser tool, since that's one of the easier ways, and just select what it is I'm interested in erasing, grab the eraser tool, hold down the option key, click and drag, and make sure I only go down to the bleed, and it helps to be zoomed in. And then what I want to do is look here and see if that caused any problems. It kind of sort of did, right? Because you have this line here right at the bleed, and you really don't want that. So I'm going to Command Z, and I'm going to do it the right way. So I've got that whole thing selected there. I'm going to grab the pen tool and let the smart guides help me by clicking there and then following out so I get that magenta line. Now the color varies depending on what layer you're on, and then I just need to go over here and click because I've cleared this piece, and then I should, but you know what, the same thing is actually going to happen again, and I'll just show you because what's going to happen is that has a stroke on it. So when I do the Pathfinder option and ungroup, I just end up with the same problem I had before, which is that, so the problem here is that you have 1/8 of an inch, and if you're trying to be clean and stick right at the edge, it's not going to work because you have this little thing here. So if the printer was off by 1/8 of an inch when they crop your work, that's the error that you're going to have. And if you just grab it like this and made it bigger, for example, then now you're back to a dirty crop area, and you just kind of screwed up the alignment there. So this is a case where you're going to have to go out, if you did something like this is a case where you will have to go out and watch the video on masking, and I'm not going to repeat it here. So now I have everything cleaned up to the bleed, but things do extend all the way to the bleed wherever they come off the paper, and it's not a requirement on this project, but if you have it, that's part of the thing that you're required to do. Then I'm going to go ahead and make my crop mark, and I'm not going to repeat that again because that would be a repeat of a repeat. Okay, so that's where I was up to before. Copied the artboard, made a rectangle here to turn into crop marks, and then we're going to go to Effect, Crop Marks, and we're going to select, keep selected that rectangle that we used to make the crop marks, go into here, make sure that both the fill and the stroke are set to none, and then the last step is to turn this artboard to the printing size. So we click on the artboard, we go into properties, and we say, okay, for this project we were told that we were going to go 17 by 11, and since it's square you could go 17 for the width or 17 for the height. It really doesn't matter, just as long as one of these is 17 and one is 11. And then you can see here that now on this document you would just barely see your top crop mark. The side ones stick out very nicely, and that would be perfect to give you a trim that looks like that minus, well, here's exactly what it looks like. So if I click on this artboard to activate it, and I go to View, and I go to Trim View, once you cut that with your ruler, it's going to look exactly like this. Okay, and then the last thing I'm going to do as the student is just make sure everything's clean here. So I'll go Command minus, go way out just to make sure I didn't leave any garbage that could be erased on here. And I can take the hand tool and just go around, make, yep, everything looks good there. Select, well actually before we do that, then we'll go to View and we'll turn off the Trim View so that everything is set up perfect like it's supposed to be. And then we'll do one last save, and then just to get it ready to turn in, we'll do a Save As, and then at this time we'll put in our last name, an underscore, our first name, and a short project description such as 3D, 2D. That's all this is to remind me what project it is. Make sure I'm going to be opening up the correct one. Click Save, and you're good to turn that in to me.